Severe weather.
Destruction.
A community in repair.
Local organizations lending a helping hand.
A big thank you for Samaritan's Purse.
The linemen who work nonstop to restore power to thousands.
And once it got dark, that's when the power went out, and it got scary. It was really scary.
This is 7 News after the storm, helping Carolina's family.
And welcome as you watch our live special edition after the storm, helping Carolina's family. We are here in the Hillbrook community as we watch what has happened to these homes. There are trees everywhere you look around these particular streets that we're on, and it is like this in like 10, 12 neighborhoods in Spartanburg right now, where there are these pockets of destruction that are unimaginable. Good afternoon, I'm Amy Wood.
And I'm Ben Hoover. Thanks so much for being here with us for this special edition of Carolina's Family at 4. We are in the Hillbrook community, as Amy mentioned, one of several communities that were hit by that EF1 tornado back on February 6th. It's been about 11 days since that storm hit, and we thought it was important to show you the progress that is made, that has been made in some of these neighborhoods, but also the work that lies ahead, and some of the survival stories from the storm as well.
Absolutely incredible.
And we're also going to be raising some donations as well through the United Way. All the money that we collect throughout the next 2.5 hours will stay here locally in these local communities, and that number is going to be at the bottom of your screen for the next 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we hope that you will be moved to get involved and make a difference in any small way that you can. We talk a lot about when people are asking for donations that it doesn't matter how much you give, just the thought of doing it. But we also want to get to the incredible stories. The reason we're standing on this property is because there's a very special man who lives here. He's going to turn 93 in a few weeks, right? This is Mr. Young.
Mr. William Young.
Yes, and we are so happy that you made it through the storm.
Yeah, we made it okay, yep.
And we're joined by Mr. Young's friend, Betty Chapman. She's here as well, and we're going to hear from both of them. But first of all, back on February 6th, where were you, and what was it like inside your home?
Well, it was very quiet. I was in the downstairs bedroom here, and then suddenly the house just was like a bomb dropped on it, and like that, or much more, and it shook, and then I called Duke Power because I thought it was just something, and they said they hadn't heard anything. And then it began to rain in the bedroom.
Oh,
Then I knew something had happened.
And Mr. Chapman, Mr. Young, you have been through so much, and you could have been back in the day up in those bedrooms right there, destroyed. We have video from inside. It's terrible.
If someone had been in this bedroom right here, they could very well have gotten hurt.
Absolutely.
And Miss Betty, I know that when you were finally contacted, you came up on the scene, and what did you think?
Oh my goodness, terrified. I was afraid he was hurt or dead.
Yes.
Because you had to crawl through a lot of big trees. I mean, how many trees you did to get to him?
She did the crawling, and another friend, John Cribb, who's not here. These two were the ones who got through all the stuff and got into the house, and then helped me get out of it.
Well, we can see that you have a lot of work to do, but they got a tarp on your roof today. That's an encouragement, right?
Well, it's been there for a while. They got the people who handled the getting the trees off the house did an excellent job, and put the tarp on there, and so it was raining through this whole thing, you know.
Yes, sir, and the rain's coming again.
It was very important to get the tarp on. They got it on there, and my daughter's husband, who used to work for Dunbar, got me at the top of the list, and got the thing on there.
Well, we're so glad you've got a place to stay.
Oh,
you plan on coming back to this house?
Well, we're going to find out tomorrow what to do with the house. The house might have to be destroyed, you know.
Yeah, we will see.
It's really damaged.
Yeah. We are thinking of you, sir. Thank you for talking with 7 News today.
Thank you, Miss Betty. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Young.
You both.
Appreciate it.
Well, you know, the video that we've seen, both after the storm, of course, but also during the storm, is incredible. And we want to jump back over to the west side of town. You may remember this video. It went viral on social media because these are people inside the Ashley furniture store as you watch the debris outside swirling around out there as the tornado was moving through the west side of Spartanburg.
Yeah, that was just one piece of the incredible video that we saw from that day. The view from above shows all the damage left behind here from one of our drone shots with hundreds of homes damaged. We do want to bring in our Carolina's chief meteorologist, Christy Henderson. She was so kind enough to join us out here today. A little break from pickup at school,
and
so we appreciate you being here.
We wanted to talk about the path of this tornado, right? Because it's a 10-mile path through town, through multiple neighborhoods.
Right.
Talk a little bit, Christy, about the path and how interesting it was.
Well, you know, we had warned everyone on Carolina Morning, you know, stay aware, think of where you're going to be towards the middle part of the day, because people are on their business during the day, right? They're at work, they're not necessarily at home, and they needed to know what to do. So when this line of thunderstorms started to come in, you know, not a whole lot of daytime heating to work with, but a lot going on in the atmosphere to get some of these, you know, rotating thunderstorms to form. And so then we start hearing about reports of damage, you know, around the mall. And in fact, that's about where the tornado developed. It moved along 29, increased in strength a little bit as it approached the downtown Spartanburg area, and then began dissipating in this area here. But I've never had a chance to really take in damage. I mean, I'm always looking ahead, right, to the next thing coming. Yeah. So this is really one of the first opportunities I've had to get out here and see trees snapped in half, just debris everywhere, and all this was flying around in the tornado.
I mean, it just kind of takes your breath away when you see it for the first time.
It really
so
does.
It was on the ground for 10 miles. It was 100 yards wide.
That's right.
An EF1 tornado. On the scale, how strong was that?
Well, it's considered a weak tornado, but it's really on the border between weak and strong. And I mean, it was a strong. When you're looking at the damage here,
yeah, it looks pretty strong.
It was officially 1 mile an hour away from an EF2. Now, we did have an EF2 back in 2017. I was on the air tracking that one, and that's the one that tore up some businesses along Business 85.
That's right.
But this one, I think, impacted a lot more population and had a lot more opportunity to pick up debris, you know, and cause damage down the road, and that's what we saw with this one. But it certainly was a strong tornado, you know, officially EF1, but it was on the upper end of that scale.
I mean, you can tell just by what's around us right now.
That's right.
As you were mentioning.
Yeah.
So what does stand out to you when you look at the damage that's out here? What is there anything unique or interesting to you that you hadn't seen before?
The trees snapped in half, you know, way up. The fact that there's just so many roof tarps all around, just wherever you look, you know, it just seems like there's damage everywhere. And one thing that's amazing to me, and really a miracle in my opinion, is that nobody was hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, this could have easily killed people.
Absolutely.
But I hope that people had a heads up, and I think God was at work too, you know, kind of protecting everybody in this case, because it could easily have done so much more than it did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was so fast. A lot of them barely had time to pray that day. Yeah.
Wow. So
50 miles
so
an
it
hour
went
and rain wrapped. You can't see it coming.
So in a matter of minutes, like literally like 5 or 6 minutes, it went across Spartanburg?
Yeah. A matter of 5 to 10 minutes, it was over.
Wow.
Well, Christy, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having
me. We appreciate your insight as always. No kidding.
We'll see you in the
morning.
morning. See you in the morning. Thanks.
And you had an opportunity, Amy, to speak with a neighbor kind of close to here, Rosie, Miss Rosie.
Yeah, she actually was on the other side of town. So this is back to the west side. We're going to hop back over. We love to bring you kind of all the sides of this story. And she was somebody that has a home that has been condemned and was in this kind of catch-22 scenario where she had 28 trees on her property that had fallen. And you can see as we take you inside her house here with some video that it's absolute devastation in her bedroom, much like it was here at Mr. Young's place across town. And so I talked to her about exactly what she's been going to. Listen.
The adjuster was not going to be able to do his full job looking at the house because of all the rain and coming in through the top of the house. Structural engineers cannot come on site until the trees are removed from the house. The restoration people can't come in and pack up my house to take it to the warehouse, dry it out, and save what they can until they can get up my driveway. And needless to say, there were several big trees blocking my driveway to get up here.
So this is the first step towards some progress for you.
Yep, first step, a huge step, huge step. I had about 6 or 7 gentlemen from Samaritan's Purse here, and they need more volunteers, especially with as much damage as they're taking care of today. Just today alone, and there's a lot of houses out there that still need a lot more work than mine.
Wow. Well, we will keep you in our prayers, and I hope that everything goes really well with your adjuster and everything else.
Me too.
Right?
A big thank you for Samaritan's Purse. You guys, you have no idea how much this really means to me. Thank you so much. And please, if you have time to volunteer with them, please do. We all need you.
And so we're back live again in the Hilltop community where the help is all over the place. But Samaritan Purse is with us.
Yes.
We're glad to have Chandler with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. We're excited that you guys are giving this so much coverage.
Well, it's after storms like this, after flooding, after mudslides in western North Carolina, your organization is one that comes in and helps out in these initial moments. For folks at home who do not know what Samaritan's Purse is or what you do, can you just let us know that first?
Absolutely. So Samaritan's Purse is an international evangelical Christian relief organization. We are helping all over the world, but right now our focus is Spartanburg, South Carolina, and coming alongside families that are hurting and impacted by the tornadoes last Friday.
So I'm going to tell you the example of Rosie's house, 28 trees. She had an estimate for $32,000 to do the work at her house. You guys came in and you did it for free. That is incredible.
It is incredible, and it's the Lord compelling people to come out and serve, use their own resources to serve those that are hurting, and the joy that you receive from doing that is incomparable.
So how long do you stay on the ground in areas of destruction like this? I'm sure it depends on each scenario, but how long do you anticipate being here in Spartanburg County?
We plan to be here as long as there's a need for us to be here. There's still people that are hurting in the community.
Yeah, they were saying that they've extended it, like they keep getting extended because they keep getting calls for help. You need volunteers. Where do they go?
We need volunteers. spvolunteer.org. We have the resources, but we have to have willing hands and hearts to put those tools to good use.
And so every morning you meet up in one location and then you all just kind of spread out to wherever the need
Bethlehem
is?
Baptist Church in Moore, South Carolina. Anyone that's willing to come alongside us and help can be there at 7:30 or 12:30, and we'll put them to work.
Every day, Monday through Saturday, guys.
Yes, absolutely. And Sundays at 12:30.
Perfect.
Chandler, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you
Again,
for
what's so
having me.
remarkable is you don't leave until the work is done.
Yeah.
Chandler, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. We do want to get a check on your forecast today. It is quite warm out here, standing in the sun.
Yeah.
But there is some weather, I know, coming later this week.
Yeah, and you think about Malachi Rogers joining us, all the tarps on these roofs, as Christy mentioned, Malachi, it's just, the rain is what people don't want right now because they're trying to get that work done, get the trees moved, get the power back on, etc. So how much rain are we expecting and when?
Yeah, we're expecting rain to come in starting tonight and really right through Wednesday. And we can see about an inch of rain moving through the area. Not concerned about flooding, but again, areas where, again, roofs are torn off, we have tarps up. Those are areas, unfortunately, that are going to get hindered by the fact that we have rain moving back into our forecast as early as tonight. We've had a little stretch of dry weather, which is fantastic, and folks have been able to do a lot of work, but obviously you see there's a lot more work that needs to be done. Temperatures are very warm, low 60s in the upstate, upper 50s in western North Carolina under mostly clear skies. Beautiful shot here of downtown Greenville, and we will stay mostly clear through the first part of the evening, but clouds start to build in overnight, and with that, temperatures stay on the warm side through 9 o'clock, low 50s in the upstate, 40s in western North Carolina, but it's overnight that we start tracking our next round of rain. Doesn't look too impressive back to our west, but there's a cold front that brings a few showers in late tonight, early tomorrow morning for the drive to work and school, and then as we go into tomorrow afternoon, this cold front comes through, driving more rain in, and that's where we'll get the heaviest rain late tomorrow evening into your Wednesday. So we're looking at 2 days of rain across the upstate and the mountains. We will see cloudy skies overnight, showers moving in. Temperatures are in the 40s, so be prepared for that early tomorrow morning. And during the day tomorrow with clouds and rain around, temperatures are near 60 degrees. A couple of rainy days heading our way, and after this, temperatures get a lot colder. We'll be talking about all of that coming up in our 7-day forecast.
All right, Malachi, thanks so much. And as we head to break on this special edition of the News at 4 Live, look at our United Way phone bank. Lines are open right now. That number is 888-777-7556.
Yeah, stay with us. More 7 News after the storm, helping Carolina's family when we come right back. Welcome back. We couldn't have a successful broadcast to help Carolina's family without partnering up with the United Way. They are a big piece of helping us out today with our mission to try to inform you about what's happening and the need that's out there, and then to raise some money to make a difference.
Let's go ahead and check in with Gordon Dill. He is in our Studio B back in Spartanburg, in our Spartanburg studio. So Gordon, tell us a little bit more about the efforts there.
This is going to be great, Ben, Amy. What we have here is I got 5 phones working right now. The number has been at the bottom of your screen. You're reaching out to the United Way of the Piedmont, and every dollar you can spare helps one of your neighbors. This money is not going to New York. It's not going to Texas. It is helping our neighbors, our Carolinas family, recover from some of the damage that Amy and Ben have been showing us out there. This is Kim. Kim has first chair. If you call, there's a chance you'll be talking to Kim, and tell them how excited you are to get a donation today.
I am so excited, and every dollar that we raise stays here. Please call us.
That's it. It's that simple. Listen, $5 makes a difference. You could provide toiletries to someone who has lost everything. We saw, Ben and Amy, people carrying trash bags that might be every one of their belongings out of devastated apartments and homes like you've been showing. A little bit of background here. When you give this money to the United Way of the Piedmont, they're providing housing to people temporarily who have lost their homes, the rooftops. People who are renting may need a deposit to get into a new place to live. That temporary housing is available too. People need clothes, they need food, they need supplies, and again, every dollar you give at that phone number at the bottom of your screen helps our neighbors right here in the Carolinas. Kim, one more time, tell them to call.
Please call me.
That's it. It's that simple. Call Kim, make these phones ring. Ben and Amy will send it back to you, and we're going to have an update with some impressive numbers in just a little bit.
That's right. Call Kim, and I bet if Kim really wanted to, she could get Gordon on the line for you, too.
I get to talk to Gordon Dill. There you go.
Gordon,
That's fun.
we appreciate it. We'll be checking back in with you all throughout the show. And, of course, as we mentioned at the top of this newscast, this isn't just the only area that was hit by the severe weather that moved through back on February 6th. It was further reaching.
Absolutely. There are multiple counties impacted, and especially when you think back to, like, Greenville, Pickens, Oconee, with all the flooding that happened. You may have remembered Pickens County in particular having an emergency declaration at the time that all the flooding was going on. So many roads closed. So we sent Asia Wilson back to kind of give us an update on how things are going there, and she's joining us live. Asia, show us what's happening.
Well, I'm here in Anderson County where you see here a bridge is still collapsed here. It's going to take about 4 months to fix. This is just one area still damaged in Anderson and Pickens County. And Pickens County leaders say but they came a long way. Originally, Pickens County had over 60 roads damaged. Now only 5 remain closed, but several of the roads that are open still need final repairs. I'm told nearly 30 homes and businesses have been damaged in some way. County leaders say roads and bridges crews have been working with engineers to assess and calculate water flow from the storm. They say once this is done, they will replace some culvert pipes and continue to repair roads and bridges for several more weeks. One Pickens County family who nearly lost everything says they're still hoping that something can be done to their home.
We need hands. That's what we need. We need a lot of people just to lend their time more than money or anything else.
Now, Pickens County emergency management crews say they're still working to find out exactly how much money will be needed to repair some of their damages. They say they will know very soon. We're live in Anderson County today. Asia Wilson, 7 News.
Thank you, Asia.
All right, Asia, thanks so much. And as we head to break, another live look inside our Studio B, our United Way phone bank. That number to call to make a donation is 888-777-7556.
Yeah, keep on calling Kim and the rest of the gang there, standing by to answer your phone calls and take those donations. Again, 7 News after the storm, caring for Carolina's family. We're coming right back with more.
Welcome back. You know, everybody talks about, especially when you're out here and you see all this destruction and devastation around you, how nobody was seriously hurt.
It's really incredible, and especially as you zoom in on different pictures that we've received. For example, this one is a new picture you haven't seen before. This is a local mail truck, and you can see it was actually hit by the trees during the tornado. There were people in it at the time. I'm told they're okay, but the Postal Service declined a request to get more information about exactly what happened to their crew there.
And you can see here Living Waters Community Church on West Main Street was hit especially hard by the tornado. You can see some spots were just devastated.
Now, by the time the tornado moved through downtown, though, look at a different church. This is Bethel United Methodist, and that is the cross at the tippy top of the spire. All it is bent, you guys. It's a crazy picture, but it made the spire, survived the storm. It's really incredible when you think about that little cross tipped over, but the whole spire somehow makes it through. Crazy. Well,
and joining us now is Mr.
fun.
Chris Boyette, another neighbor here in the Hillbrook area of Spartanburg. Thank you so much for being with us. And you brought a little show and tell, but what a powerful image from after the storm that you hold in your hands.
When the storm was coming through, I was in the hallway of the house.
And your house is right behind us here.
Yes, I'm in the White House, caddy corner of Mr. Young's yard.
Yes.
And the as the storm went over, it was a feeling of an uplift as far as the roof deck being pulled up, and then it smashed, and it was like 10 seconds, and I heard all the crashing sound, and I went back into the bedroom, and the clock had popped off the wall and the battery popped out, so I knew when it hit. It's 10:26.
10:26, a time you will never forget. You said it felt like a tremendous pressure or something in the house.
Yes, it felt like you're kind of like being squeezed and pulled up toward the ceiling, and then it was over.
And you weren't home alone, you were in there with your dog.
I was with my dog, told the dog. I looked out the back window and I saw the wind swirling around, and I looked down at him. I said, Toto, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
No.
And then the next thing I heard was that proverbial freight train sound without a whistle. And so I knew what was happening, so I leaned down and I was putting my knee on the floor to protect him. And by the time that my knee touched the floor, it was already over.
It was already gone.
It was
just
already
like
gone,
that.
just like
And
that.
you're placed, Chris. Talk about like what your situation is at this point.
Well, insurance has been wonderful and great, and they're taking care of me, and they're taking care of everything else. The front half of the house basically has been damaged, or the end of the house is destroyed, and we'll find out within another couple of days exactly how it's going to proceed. I'm staying in the neighborhood. I love this neighborhood.
Yes.
So.
Well, your parents built the house back in the 1960s.
Yes.
So
that's amazing.
It's going to take much more than a tornado to get you out of here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it's not your first tornado.
No, it's not my first. When I was 7 or 8 years old, we were visiting family over in Birmingham, and we had a tornado that went through that neighborhood. Not as close as this one, but yeah, it came through the neighborhood.
You have been blessed twice. Thank you for joining us live today, and God bless
Chris,
with your efforts to get back on your feet. We
thank
appreciate
you for bringing the 1026.
We now know what time it hit.
You're going to leave it like that?
I'm leaving it like
I
this.
figured you would.
I would, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. And one of the teams working in these neighborhoods is Team Rubicon, and we caught up with them working on Mary Frances Oliver's house on the west side.
Yeah, this is a really cool story because she is celebrating her 94th birthday, and they found out about that as they were doing all the tree work in her backyard. And as the trees were being removed, of course, that's a big gift, but then they had a little something else in mind. Watch this.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mary Frances. Happy birthday to you. Blow it out.
And we've got Team Rubicon with us. After singing, you got your vocal cords exercised yesterday along with all the exercise of moving the trees. How great was that to celebrate a moment like that with a lady that's been through so much?
It was a very moving moment. Just honored to be there to help her, be part of that, and to remind her that there are people in the community that care about her, and that she's an active, feisty 94-year-old who could keep up with us. And that was very impressive. But we wanted her to know that she was not alone, and that, you know, there are folks in the neighborhood who care, and that's what Team Rubicon does. We come in and we care about our fellow man.
You come in after disasters like tornadoes like this, and You know, I think you're here for so long, you almost become like part of the family. Is that what kind of goes on?
Yes, sir. We come in after natural disaster events, tornadoes, hurricanes, the big ones, but flooding, things that impact locally as well as nationally. You hear about on the major networks, but local news. And we become part of the family because we are here when folks are in the greatest need.
That's right.
And we help them try to get back to a state of normality.
How can we help? Do you guys need volunteer assistance? I know the Samaritan's Purse folks are looking for people.
We're always looking for help. This, unfortunately, y'all have a lot of big, heavy timber down here, and it takes a lot of manpower to move to the curb to get out of the people's yards. So we're always looking for neighborhoods. The Emergency Management Agency has set up a volunteer network. The local college has reached out to us as well.
Oh, great.
And if you're interested in joining Team Rubicon, we are on the web, World Wide Web, teamrubiconusa.org. We're mostly, at one time, we're made up of military veterans. But we are currently 70% veterans, but we take anybody who's willing to make a difference in their neighborhood and in the world.
Thank you, sir.
Well, sir,
God
on
bless
behalf
with your
of
work.
everybody, shake your hand.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all the hard work.
Great birthday party yesterday, too. That was so nice. Thank you.
And as we head to break, we do want to remind you about our United Way phone bank. That number is 888-777-7556. The smallest donations will be taken. They will stay here
in our
in
community.
the Upstate. You can even designate what county you would like your donation to go to. And we'll be right back.
Welcome back in as we cover what's happening with the storm and the aftermath, as we look at the after the storm and helping Carolina's family. We're trying to do both here today, kind of look back at what's happened, look ahead to what still is yet to be done, and help our neighbors.
And so one of the hardest hit areas, some of the most powerful video we saw from back on February 6th was out of the Crown Point apartments. Take a look. It was devastated by the tornado. Many families were displaced there, and that's where we find our meteorologist Dan Bickford. So Dan, you were there in the immediate moments after the storm, we remember. So what's the cleanup look like now?
It's kind of surreal in that life has gone on. Power poles are up. We've seen a couple school buses let kids off. They've come into the apartment complex. But if we look up and down Croydon Road here, we can look in either direction. You'll see the trees that were up and down this road gone. When we were here before, several trees snapped off halfway up and down the road, clear on down to that neighborhood where there are still tarps on roofs. So they've done a good job cleaning things up so people can get around. But you see, it is that stereotypical, gee, we've had a tornado come through here, look, where you just have the stumps. Now, of course, this building, Building H, this was one of the more severely damaged buildings in the complex where a tree fell and that part of the roof kind of caved inward. We did an interview with a gentleman in one of these apartments in this building, and at this point, they've started working on the inside of that apartment. There's, in fact, it's that unit right there. You can see the board in the window. So there have been several people, lots of crews here working, cleaning up around here. There are still a couple cars in the parking lot that have some damage. There's a minivan right here that still has some damage on the windshield. While we were here, we saw another car being towed out that had been crushed. So they're still in the process of trying to get some of the cars out of here. Something to keep in mind, and one of the reasons we're doing this with the United Way, is that in a rental situation like an apartment complex, you have to keep in mind renter's insurance is very important. The Insurance Information Institute estimates that nationally only 37% of renters have renter's insurance, and that covers your belongings and that covers the ability to stay in other lodging if something happens to your apartment. So if we go by national statistics, that means more than half the people affected here who were without units or had to be displaced didn't have renter's insurance, or most likely didn't, if we just go by the average stats. So this is why it's very important to help these people out, and this is why we're doing this with Carolina's family today.
Of course, have a lot going on in the community. In fact, we're rolling in one of our favorite residents. Mary is going to join us because her power just came on.
Right, the work is not done yet.
And you can see some of the folks that got it back on here. We appreciate that.
Duke Energy still has men up in the buckets, still restoring power. However, a lot of power has been restored over the last 11 days.
And so, Ryan, talk a little bit about what you guys are up against trying to get the power back on.
Well, actually, we've gotten most of the customers that were impacted by the tornadoes on. We had that taken care of in the first 3 days. What you see then is damage behind you. You know, when meter bases get ripped off of homes, we have to get those things inspected and repaired before we can restore service to the house safely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And guys, there have been people everywhere I went when I was doing my live streams in the various neighborhoods. They would say, "Thank you, Duke Power. Thank you to the linemen. You guys are the heroes." So we wanted Mary to come on over here and thank you too. She's cruising on over because you just got your power back on, Mary, right?
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, we're so grateful to everyone. Don't make me cry, but I'm fine.
Oh.
I haven't cried. I haven't cried.
You're the sweetest. And so tell these guys.
Hello. I'm so proud of all of you all.
Oh.
Really am.
Well, they're a good group, and we wanted to give you a chance.
What?
We wanted to give you a chance to say thank you to them on behalf of all the folks who got their power back on.
Yes. Yes, I'm so glad that you're power people. Oh, yeah, I've seen you work ever since you've been here, and you've done a wonderful, wonderful job. And I'm grateful to you. I wouldn't miss a trick.
Does that help, guys? I know the hours are sometimes not the best. Everything always goes out when you least need to be leaving your families. But does it help to hear someone like Mary saying thanks?
Yes, ma'am, it does. It's good to do stuff for people that's grateful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've been getting, I hear your surveys are really good, like the surveys that are getting done by the customers. Are you hearing good things from the community, from people that you've talked to along the way?
Yes, ma'am. We have a lot of them thank you. Just to see us out there, they're really happy about seeing us getting the power back.
And we heard Ryan mention that these guys come from the Spartanburg
area. Yeah, you
so
guys are
a lot of
local.
times you have to leave your families when the storm has just moved through to go get power back to other people. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And so what's your wife say when it's time to head out the door and you got to get power back?
They're not happy about it, but work calls. So
That's
you gotta
right.
go.
Work calls, and we appreciate the work that y'all do. I'm sorry, you were
You're
speaking with
good.
Miss Mary.
Oh, Miss Mary was just saying that she saw them out late. They were working all the time. She saw them out the window. Miss Mary, by the way, really quickly, you were in the window sitting there watching the tornado.
The breakfast room, I saw it come by me fast. And I wasn't fearful. It just went so fast you didn't have time to think about it.
Yeah. We are so glad you are okay and that you have your power back.
I'm her daughter, Amanda, and I want to thank you so much, Duke Energy, for getting our power back. Thank you so much. I was in the house also. I ran downstairs, but
this is amazing.
yes, we were together. I was getting ready to take my car out, but I'm glad I did not go out on the road. You know, we can replace material things, but we can't replace this.
No, Mary, we cannot replace Mary or any of the other precious
Mary, thanks
people
so
in our
much.
community. Thank you all so much.
And thank you, gentlemen.
And we got to keep raising money, right? We got to
That's
raise
right.
the money. So let's bring in a little bit more of that information for you. That 888-777-7556 is the phone number. You just make a simple phone call. People waiting to take your call right now.
That's right. We are taking donations from individuals, but also from some companies and some corporations as well. Let's go ahead and check back in with Gordon Dill. He is in our Studio B with an update. Hey, Gordon. We'll go to Gordon here in just a moment, but first we do want to bring in Red Cross, the executive director from Red Cross.
I think Ryan.
We're moving a lot of bodies out here, people.
Ryan, we've talked about raising the money, and Ryan, you have got a little special something to tell our executive director of the Red Cross today.
Well, the one thing that we find in situations like this is there's going to be need in the community even after the power is restored, and we have great partners throughout South Carolina, but particularly in the Upstate, who provide those services that just need to be provided in the aftermath of a tornado or some other natural disaster. And the American Red Cross folks do a fantastic job of doing that. And so we reached out to them right after the storm came through and said, what can we do to help? And so we are giving them $10,000 from our foundation to help reimburse some of the expenses they've had from shelters and other operations that they had in the immediate aftermath of the storm.
So this is Lisa Colby. You are with the Red Cross, executive director. How about that news?
Without this kind of philanthropy that's done by our corporate community and individuals, we would not exist. So this is going to help us replenish those coffers that a lot of the response, the helping pay security deposits for people who need to find new homes, all the things that we've done, opening shelters, this will help us. So it's really appreciated.
Tell us a little bit more about the shelters that were open in those first several days after the storm.
Yeah, there was the one at Covenant Baptist Church, and that's where people went when either they needed to ride out the storm because it was getting really scary. Some of them it's because they lost power, others because their homes were uninhabitable. Yeah. So that's what we do. That's what the Red Cross does, is provides that immediate emergency assistance for people in need.
You served a lot of meals and snacks and things too.
We did. Over the span since February 6th, I think it's been about 700 meals and snacks served at all 4 shelters that we opened throughout the Upstate.
And as you said, you'll be able to replenish a lot of that because of the generosity here of Duke Energy.
Absolutely. They're great partners for us.
All right.
And there are other partners as well. You guys are working tonight to raise money through the United Way so they can distribute that to other smaller organizations that have also had a great impact. And so in the spirit of that, we're also giving $10,000 to the United Way so they can distribute that to these other organizations and continue the recovery process.
Thank you. That is our first big corporate announcement today. Thank you so much.
That's a total of $20,000, and thank you so much for that. We
Well, it's
appreciate
going to
it.
great people doing a great job here in a great community, and we're proud to do it.
Thank you, Ryan.
Right.
Both of you. Good work.
Yeah. And we mentioned Gordon Dill. We're going to check back in with him a little bit later, but as we go to break, again, that number is 888-777-7556, and we'll check back with him when we come back. Welcome back. We are always thankful for our first responders, especially in times like this. That's why we have the head of Spartanburg County Emergency Management, Doug Bryson, here with us. Thanks so much for coming out and joining us.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about what the community has experienced. You know, the state made you guys kind of get that first report in, and there were almost 300 homes damaged across the county, but you're expecting that number to go up.
Correct. We're going to start our what we call the individual assistance, was actually getting down to the individual homeowners. That process will start on Wednesday, and we expect it to go anywhere between 400 and 500 structures altogether, commercial, business, and residential, that have some type of damage, anything from minor to destroyed.
Yeah. How does that compare to other emergency scenarios we've had, disasters?
Well, we've never seen anything to this scale in Spartanburg County. We had, of course, 2 tornadoes that came through in 2017, which were much less significant than this. We've had major ice storms where we've had a lot of debris down, but we've never had this level of damage to structures as we have in this storm.
And of course, our first responders live here in Spartanburg County. Mr. Bryson, I mean, when the storm came through, you had a little bit of an experience too, didn't you?
Right. I was on I-26 westbound. As I went underneath Reedville Road, the tornado actually passed right in front of me, and 2 tractor trailers overturned in front of me. So I stopped to check on them, and by then it had made its way into the Westgate area, and everything kind of broke loose at that point.
Yeah.
And had you ever witnessed a tornado in your life before?
This is actually my 4th one that I've been through. I wasn't always in this line of work, but I grew up in Northeast Ohio. We had an EF5 go through my neighborhood, and so it's been since 1985 on. I've been in the wrong place at the right time, apparently.
Where are we at with the community right now as far as handling this and being what comes next for a lot of the people that have all this mess at their house?
We're in what we call a recovery phase, obviously. We have a disaster recovery plan that's been approved by South Carolina Emergency Management and FEMA. We're well into that process. We're taking calls. We're referring people to the proper agencies, whether it be the Red Cross, United Way. We even have some small companies that deal in refurbished furniture that are ready to donate furniture to people and things like that, and working with insurance companies. There's just a lot of moving parts that are well underway, but right now all of our needs appear to be met.
Okay.
That's great.
Mr. Bryson, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we want to head back to Spartanburg in the studio where Gordon Dill is keeping an eye on what's happening with the donations. Gordon, we got a fantastic piece of news, $10,000 from the Red Cross for our cause from Duke Energy today. $10,000. Amazing.
Amy and Ben, and the donations are rolling in from all of our viewers right now, too. We're getting a lot. I'm overhearing $20 donations, $100. Any amount you can give can get somebody back on their feet. Boy, when the weather event like this hits, it's by the grace of God that it hits one person, misses another. You never know where it's going to go, and those neighbors need your help. This is housing for some of the homes you're showing us out there with the tarps on top of their roofs. For people who were renting, who maybe need help getting into a new apartment. If you've rented before, you know you need that first month's deposit just to get in the door. The United Way of the Piedmont is helping with all that, and so far, with donations from people like you at home, $2,600 raised on these telephones. And you know what? I see one person on the phone right here. I got 4 empty phones ready to ring. There goes one. Call that number at the bottom of your screen now. $5 helps a little bit to get somebody going. If you call all 5 of these phones and give 20, we've raised $100. And you guys mentioned a corporate donation, Amy and Ben. How about this? BMW has promised $5,000 to our cause, the United Way of the Piedmont, getting people back on their feet after a terrible storm. Let's match BMW's numbers. Make the phones ring now. The number is at the bottom of your screen. We're here until 6:30. We're right back.
Welcome back. A reminder that our phone bank is open until 6:30. The number to call is 888-777-7556. That is our United Way phone bank, where we are taking donations that will go directly here to the people who were impacted by the storm in Spartanburg County and surrounding areas.
And of course, the people in our community right now who are helping out and really solving the problem for so many homeowners are people like Gus Myers and his organization, the United Methodist Church's ERT, the Emergency Response Team.
Right.
And you guys are out on the west side right now working. How much demand is there for your help right now?
Well, it's really getting caught up. If it's not done, somebody's on it. A lot of people have come in to help, and it's been a tremendous blessing for everyone.
What are the biggest jobs? I would imagine tree removal. I don't know what your organization is equipped with handling, though.
Well, we do some tree removal. Nothing in this size that I've seen here.
Yeah, these are some big boys.
Yeah, smaller stuff, and
roofs.
We cover roofs if we get the trees off, so the rain doesn't cause any more damages. But really, whatever we can do, we'll take a tree off a driveway or pick up limbs.
How do people connect with you if they need your help?
Oh, okay.
Well,
I've got a number here.
Oh,
if you don't
well,
mind me pulling
okay.
it out. It's Billy Robinson, 803-539-8429.
All right. So, and you can also call into 211. They are connected to the United Way. Yeah. They're connecting a lot of people with the various organizations. So that works out really well. What has been the most rewarding part of being part of this response?
Oh, it's just helping people in general. It just makes your heart do well. And what surprises a lot of people is you have a lot of people ride through here and they'll say, I'll take that tree down for $1,000. We walk up and say, we'll take it down for nothing.
Yeah.
And they are just blown away.
Well, anybody who's ever had a tree quoted to have it removed knows how much it is. So we appreciate all the work y'all do, especially the United Methodist Church. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much. Of course, we want to remind you to keep calling in. The phone lines are open till 6:30 tonight. We're going to continue our coverage live here from the Hillbrook community as we continue to bring you After the Storm, helping Carolina's family today. Very special coverage from 7 News.
And we want to thank Gus and the rest of our guests that joined us in the last hour. So many people showed up to kind of show you what this storm did and of course the path forward. We'll have more as Live at 5 continues right after the break.
Now, your Storm Team 7 forecast first.
Well, a very good Monday afternoon, everyone. Lots of sunshine and an unseasonably warm day. Highs have been in the 60s in the upstate, 50s in western North Carolina, and mostly clear skies. But that's going to change overnight as clouds move in. A chance of rain moves in overnight, keeping temperatures in the upper 40s through the overnight in the upstate. Temperatures will fall to the mid-40s overnight with showers in the mountains. Rain chances are going up over the next few days. We'll have the details of that coming up in our forecast. 7 News Live at 5 starts right now.
Now on 7 News at 5, damaging weather ripped through the upstate just over a week ago. 7 News' Amy Wood and Ben Hoover are live at the worst hit location in Spartanburg. And 7 News is working to help the upstate recover, but we need your help. Volunteers from the United Way are standing by to take your calls. Our Asia Wilson is in Pickens County covering the aftermath of the flooding there. And developing now, we head to Greenville where schools recognized a historic event that took place 50 years ago.
Live and local for Carolina's family. This is 7 News Live at 5.
Thank you for joining us for this special edition of Live at 5 tonight as we take a live look here over some of the worst hit areas in Spartanburg County from that storm that hit just over a week ago. 7 News has teamed up with the United Way as volunteers stand by to take your donations. That number on your screen, 888-777-7556. We hope you make those phones ring. Our Ben Hoover is live right now with Amy Wood for this special edition of 7 News at 5. And Ben, tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Well, Diane, we are live right now in the Hillbrook community in East Spartanburg. This is one of several communities that was hit hard by that EF1 tornado back on February 6th. Amy Wood is joining me live. We've been here on air for the last hour raising money, as you mentioned at the top of the newscast, but also speaking to survivors of the storm and some of the first responders who showed up.
Yeah, we are in front of a house right here, Diane, that is destroyed. The top 3 bedrooms are completely wiped out. Mr. Young was fortunately sleeping in the basement, thank the Lord, when the tornado hit, so he is not hurt. He was with us at 4 o'clock, but we have so many stories like this from this east side of town all the way to the 10 miles across town where our Scotty K is joining us live tonight. That's near the Crown Point Apartments, but she's actually ventured out to some of those neighborhoods that surround that area over on the west side. So many homes impacted over there too, Scotty.
Absolutely, Amy, and we've told you guys about the extensive damage done here at Crown Point Apartments, but what you might not know about is the same amount of damage done in the neighborhood right across the street here on Croydon Road, where crews have been working all day long, fixing roofs, cutting down trees, and the folks who live out here told me while it's frustrating that they're still having to clean up after this tornado, they're just thankful no one was hurt.
I decided to turn on Channel 7 to see how things were before I went out.
Thursday, February 6th, Brenda Pitts was about to leave her home to run errands when in the blink of an eye, a tornado ripped through her neighborhood.
I could hear the shingles rolling up and coming off.
The roof of the house she's called home for more than 50 years was damaged, but that's not all. Her fence and car were also hit. She lost power and trees were uprooted. A week and a half later, you'll see boarded up windows and blue tarps scattered across her neighborhood, and crews are working to help her and her neighbors get their homes and yards back to normal.
From daylight till dark, it's trees being cut, hammers, a lot noisier than the normal neighborhood.
But even with all of the devastation that surrounds her, Pitts says she got an important message from a flower she had planted next to one of the trees that fell in her backyard.
Tree roots went up, it went up, and it was growing on top.
While many things were destroyed, the bright yellow daffodil stayed strong.
That one was here to give us all hope. And I have named him Hope in the Storm, and I plan to put him back where he was growing originally.
So Pitts is staying positive and even finding humor in the hit she's taken.
We won't be raking leaves next fall. We can do something more fun.
She now wants others who were also impacted by the tornado to take this advice.
If a little plant could grow like that and hang on, then surely we could hang on as well. I'm going to do like my little plant, and I'm going to hang in there.
Now, Brenda Pitts tells me she expects it to be several weeks, possibly months, until her home and her neighborhood are back to normal, and she says she's saying extra prayers for those whose homes were hit even harder than hers was. In Spartanburg tonight, Scotty K, 7 News.
All right, Scotty, thanks so much. And joining Amy and me now, Sheriff Chuck Wright with Spartanburg County. Thanks so much for being here, sir.
My pleasure.
So in those initial moments after the storm back on February 6th, what was the 911 call center like? I would imagine off the hook.
It was chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all hands on deck. You know, we had everybody from the city to county. We had people out here helping people out in homes that did not respond to emergencies. They just did it because they cared about the people.
Yeah.
You know, we had a lot of people pull together. That's what makes Spartanburg County so great. We didn't have to call a lot of people. They just came and started helping.
Yeah.
Started helping. And it's by God's grace nobody's dead out here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, what do you think? I mean, you've been through a lot of things in the county over the years. This is one of the worst things we've seen.
It's one of the worst tornadoes I've seen through this area for sure. I was watching it from the office, and I said, boys, we need to go inside and pray a little bit. So we did, and then the calls started coming, and it was nuts.
Because at that point, you don't even know who's hurt or anything.
No, we had no idea. I thought we'd have a fatality for sure, you know, because it was things, I mean, these are big old trees.
Yeah.
They're just thrown everywhere. Cars were hidden, you know, and
Yeah, I mean, we're standing in cleared areas. This was total chaos, trees everywhere. You couldn't stand here.
You couldn't stand here a week ago.
Yeah.
So
and Amy was telling the story of a homeowner here who found an Ingalls shopping cart in one of her trees out here, which would be the Ingalls about, what, 9 miles away from here?
Yeah, I think it was like 8 miles away, and it was the basket, I guess, not the cart. You know those little shopping baskets?
Cart.
But it was in the top of a tree, 8 miles from the west side of town.
I'm glad I didn't have anything in that basket.
Me either,
Or
right?
me.
Right. Well, so what are your thoughts about your guys and gals that showed up and helped their neighbors?
I'm so proud of our team. You know, I can speak for the dispatchers. They did an incredible job of getting everybody. You think about it, they're equipped for calls, but this was just like 4 times the calls within a 4-hour period, and they didn't miss a beat. You know, they're super. Sure. Our guys came out, and you know, we had people that just simply came on out and didn't. You know, we didn't have to call them. They came in and said, "No, you need help," so they did. You know,
like you mentioned, you said there were no jurisdiction lines on that day. Sheriff, thanks so much for being with us, coming out here. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We do want to check in with our Gordon Dill. He is in our Studio B in Spartanburg Studios with more on our United Way phone bank. So how's it going, Gordon?
It ring and